Organizational culture and organizational structure are major components determining the effectiveness of a business entity. The two are often discussed separately, missing the impact and dependence each has on the other. Understanding the relationship between organizational culture and organizational structure can be illustrated by thinking of the forest and trees. The forest represents the organizational culture. While walking through a forest, you see the parts that it is made of, but you do not get to see its entirety from your vantage point. You know it is there, but in a sense, intangible. Like the forest, the culture is the essence of the entity, the big picture. According to principles of management, organizational culture encompasses an entity's environment, belief systems, values, vision, and represents the way an organization does business, internally and externally. The culture is what makes an organization unique. It is the language, behaviors, and habits that set it apart from others. Organizational culture is based on written and unwritten rules that have a direct influence over the organization, its members, and the direction it is headed. The culture serves as a frame of reference for the way in which members react towards and respond to other members, customers, and other stakeholders. The trees represent the organizational structure. The trees are what you see while walking through a forest. You can reach out and touch them. You see them all around you. Organizational structure refers to the process of how an organization reaches its goals. According to Community Toolbox, structure defines who makes the decisions, rules, and procedures by which the organization functions by, and the flow of communication throughout. Structure is a seemingly tangible component of business operations that dictates behavior, the daily work, written rules and codes of conduct, as well as the means of communication. Trees are a major component of a forest. Without them, the forest would cease to be a forest. Merriam-Webster defines a forest as an area dominated by trees and other vegetation. While trees exist outside of a forest, they do not have near as much ecological power standing alone than in a forest, and are much more vulnerable to the natural elements. Culture and structure both impact an organization and are completely dependent upon each other to operate effectively. Culture and structure govern the behavior of an organization's members, but in different capacities. According to Brubaker, organizational behavior is determined more so by culture than by strategy. The culture is the frame of reference for which the structure is created. In a sense, structure answers what is done and who does it, while culture answers why is it done. It is the leader's responsibility to maintain organizational culture and uphold organizational structure. Strategy must align with organizational culture and structure as they both serve as a guide for decision making. According to Edgar Schein, leaders are reinforcers of organizational culture. The leader must be a role model for members in order to introduce and maintain the organizational culture. Reinforcing culture will naturally lead to the commitment of upholding and enforcing the rules and policies in order to maintain organizational structure. For a leader, the strategy must be carrying out the vision, which is directly linked to culture, and the structure of the organization will determine how the vision is carried out. Peter Wohlleben declares that the strength of a tree can be determined by its surrounding forest. That sentiment, paired with the idea that a forest ceases to be a forest without trees, illustrates their dependency and impact on one another. This relationship mirrors that of organizational culture and structure, two major components of an organization that must be present and constantly reinforced by leadership in order to maintain organizational effectiveness and relevancy in the 21st century.